We are getting into a conversation with the right minister, Minister Shamfa Cudjoe-Lewis. And of course, we are here to speak I choose sport, an option, should we say. And I remember when she spoke at the Caribbean schools, and she spoke about options. And I got a different level of respect for this minister based on the truth that she spoke to in her presentation. And again, congratulations on that. And it stayed with me because you actually spoke from your heart to what needs to be done. And congratulations again. All right, let's get into this. I Choose Sport initiative is just on the heels of the climax of Empower TT. Is there any relation, and why is this necessary at this time?
Well, it seems and feels like Empower TT because it's another one of the programs that came from my heart. But the genesis of I Choose Sport actually came from 40 Under 40 when I was Minister of Sport and Youth, where we use entrepreneurs, sportsmen, you name it, to tell people in schools, young people, that you can be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do. It's not only about 5 CXC subjects. You're born with talent and so on. So we had some sportsmen on that program. So we created one specifically when I left Ministry of Sport and Youth. Or should I say Ministry of Youth? I went to Ministry of Sport and Community Development, and I wanted to continue in the same vein. I believe that when people interact with other people and you see others doing what you hope to do, it inspires. So any program I develop, I try to ensure that there is some form of mentorship in it, because I think that's the best way youngsters learn and the best way they are motivated. So I Choose Sport is a part of our Sport in Schools initiative. It is the campaign. It is it promotes mentorship. It promotes sport in schools. It promotes people choosing sport as a way of life. We like to compare ourselves to Jamaica and other countries who are doing excellent in sport, but they have made sport a part of their culture, and it's pretty much saying to teachers, to parents, that academics and athletics can go hand in hand, and a better student is a student athlete, and sports teaches youngsters how to manage time, how to network, and all the benefits that sport can bring to the development of our young people. School and athletics could go hand in hand. So
this caravan is visiting schools, taking athletes, ambassadors, and other sporting industry actors into the school access in Trinidad and Tobago. 42 schools already?
42 schools already, and I think by the time we complete in Tobago today, we'll be up to about 51 schools, because we're doing 9 schools in Tobago. We started last week Thursday in Tobago, and I think today is the final day for this cycle. I'm happy to finally have Tobago on board. We were trying to get Tobago on board since last year. June we had written to the Assembly and were ignored or didn't get any response. We wrote twice, and this time around, quite recently, we got the okay, I think last month, and we just hit the ground running. So we hitting 9 schools in Tobago cycle.
And naturally it would be an interactive kind of session where the athletes, the coaches, the personnel would engage with
students.
The students. But what happens after? I know at one point you were also calling on clubs to register and stuff. Is it the streamlining of or access to facilities and other equipment and that kind of stuff? How does that work following this caravan?
Okay, we're helping young people to have access to sports that wouldn't traditionally be taught or offered at their schools. So for instance, some persons have expressed interest in hockey, interest in rugby, and if we get clubs to register with the I Choose Sport program, we can then direct these students to these clubs so they can further develop their skills. In some areas, we're working with the schools to help to develop their infrastructure. For instance, Compre. I went to a meeting at Compre, and they spoke to the challenge of violence and so on at their schools, and there was a cricket person, a cricket coach in the audience who said he's here volunteering his time and his talent, but they have a challenge with cricket nets. So we are offering to sponsor the material for the nets and hopefully the assembly or parents would help in building the cricket nets. So that's the kind of partnerships that we have started off with, but it's really about streamlining, introducing these students to different areas of sport, not only being athletes, also you have scoring, you have the administrative side of sport, because we believe that there's a place for everyone in sport. So if you find your niche, we help to direct you to people and to clubs and to entities that could help you in that regard.
I could only imagine how exciting it would be for the young people when they're hearing and they're seeing some of their role models in some cases, and hearing some of the avenues that they could take. But I need to ask about the parents. How are the parents receiving this? Because we know there's a situation where certain parents still have sports in a particular bracket as opposed to the traditional career path. In terms of incorporating the parents into this drive, what are the intentions?
We do meetings with PTA. So sometimes a principal may call the Sport in Schools unit in to meet with the PTA or to even meet with their teachers. For instance, you have Sandra Johnson from chess. She works with principals and teachers to show them how you can utilize the sport of chess to help students to focus. So we try to show them that there are benefits to sport. Back in the days, parents pulled children out of sports because they felt like it affected their academics. For instance, my mother was a runner. I participated in Carifta, and when she came back from Carifta, her father thought that, okay, you're doing too much playing, and pulled her out of sport. And when you talk to her today, she speaks about what could have happened if she wasn't pulled out of sports. I think parents these days are coming around to understanding. There are still some real old school parents, old school principals and teachers even, who still don't give students the opportunity to catch up in school, the opportunity to go out and play. So it's really about changing the culture. And one visit to your school won't do that. But I think having the opportunity to interact with athletes who have been successful in life through sport, and showing that today sport can also be an avenue for wealth generation and income generation. And you see other star athletes doing pretty well. You have athletes sharing their experiences about traveling for the first time, leaving the Caribbean for the first time through sport, and I think that helps to open up the minds and the hearts of people to embracing sport with a different kind of appreciation these days.
All right, the other thing that we're going to take in, when we come back, I want to expand that further on that point about parents pulling their children when it's SE, no more tennis for you or no more basketball. You have to study your book, and then we lose the opportunity of developing a star there. A very important point. So let's take in this promotional piece.
Is on the go in Tobago from May 23rd to 28th. We will be at 9 secondary schools. Meet the country's top athletes and brand ambassadors as they share their stories. Sign up for a new sport and challenge your sporting skills. Get ready, Tobago! We're coming to you. For the love of sport, I choose sport.
All right, welcome back. So 9 schools yet to be visited, starting today, Minister?
They started last Thursday.
Last Thursday, all right.
Thursday, Friday, yesterday, and today is the final day in Tobago. I think Tobago is provides such a great opportunity because we're small. So you may not get enough students at one school to form a hockey coaching group, but from different schools, and because we're small, they can get at a central location and you can channel them to a club for development. You know, we do the July-August sports camps. We also do the Easter camps too, and this would help us to identify what sporting disciplines we want to do camps in Tobago and throughout Trinidad and Tobago this year.
Going back to the very, and that is what you spoke to when I was really impressed with your speech, when you said that there are principals, there are teachers and parents who seem to take children away, especially if they're, and in some cases they are real talented. And Dwight York was 10 years old when Bert Hill took him under his wings, and from there he developed into this international icon. What do we need to, how do we impress upon the parents to understand that, look, the child will be able to pass their exams, and in some cases they'll tell you, the science has shown that a child involved in sport excel in academics. How do you marry the two? It's not to have the child taken away from the sport that can probably make him an international or millionaire. What do we need to do to convince parents that you yourself recognize that contributes to why in some cases we lose some talents?
I think it's exploring the full potential of sport. And I think we have to come from a place of stating that we're not only trying to develop star athletes or see sport as a profession, but sport can help that student to develop confidence to do their schoolwork better, confidence to face a bully, confidence to interact and to negotiate, to network. Some people learn their leadership skills through sport. About the importance of remaining physically active or being physically active. In this day and age, our children are more prone to picking up a tablet or going on the phone for a very long time, and we're seeing childhood obesity, we're seeing diabetes in children. So for us, it's more than developing a star athlete, and I think that parents could be more prone to accepting sport as a part of the child's development through education, through showing examples of others who have excelled in sport, and even looking at our case of non-communicable diseases in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to get out there and be active, and I think that there's no better way to do that than through structure, and the easiest way to reach the larger number of students or people would be through school, because it's mandatory for us to go to primary and secondary schools. So it's an opportunity to cast the net and get a wider pool of potential star athletes. And even if you don't get star athletes, it's helping people to see sport as a physical education, physical movement as a part of their development, helping them to develop so many other characteristics that we know sport is tried, tested, and true in helping young people, in helping people to develop as a whole.
What was the reaction from principals? You mentioned that also, that there are some principals who say, no sports here. In some cases, you have the PE in secondary schools, the officer or the PE teacher that would push sport in some cases, track and field and so on. What was the reaction? Or are you getting the support from the principals in the schools that you would have visited, or some resistance?
You have some support, but you also have some resistance. What I like in Tobago is that Tobago had the GC Foster initiative. Jomo Pitt brought in GC Foster many years ago, and they helped coaches and PE teachers to develop their strategy and a program for sport in schools. And you see Tobago being very successful in secondary school, track and field, in primary school, track and field. So I think Tobago has a strategy that we can learn from through what they've benefited through the GC Foster program. It's about seeing many more sporting disciplines in the same light of athletics, because you have some hidden talent in the area of archery. You see youngsters doing dragon boat and a whole host of other sporting disciplines. So it's seeing beyond simply athletics, but also other sporting disciplines and embracing the opportunity in order to deal with the challenge of teachers and principals. To be quite honest with you, usually sport in schools unit is set up in a Ministry of Education or Division of Education, but we have chosen to put the sport in schools unit under Sport TT, because there are some teachers who believe if they're supposed to help in sport, then they need to be paid an extra salary, or they don't want to stay back after school. Whilst in places like Jamaica, if you're a secondary school principal, you're automatically a part of ISA, Inter-Secondary School Sport Association, and there is no extra money, there is no extra anything. I think that's going to take a long time to come around. In Trinidad and Tobago, you have some teachers who already volunteer. So in order to treat with that, we've just started a program, Sport in Schools at Sport TT, and we help the schools who are interested in developing sport by providing technical support, providing some financial support also for their sport days, teaching them how to do the applications and so on. And so far we've trained 34 coaches and sent them out to schools to assist in developing school sports, because some schools have lost the culture of having sports days, I remember going to Mason Hall Government. Yes, Mason Hall Government, we had sports day every single year. Now there are some schools doing it every other year or every 3 years, and there are some schools that don't have any sport day. When I went to Scarborough Methodist in those days, I don't remember having sports day. I hope that has changed now, but it changes from school to school, and what we're doing at the level of the cabinet is working with schools, or we've made the decision to say sports is mandatory. You must have that sports day at least, and that would in turn help you to develop a sporting program.
And it's definitely essential to the development of the young person's mind and physical.
Yes, and confidence.
Physicality and confidence.
Yes.
Let me just ask 2 questions. One, with regards to, there's this notion that you may be interested in a particular sport in Trinidad or Tobago, but the resources are not available or readily available, right? And I know part of this is pooling together the resources and stuff. But what can you say as minister to those who lose faith in the availability of resources and probably looking elsewhere in terms of probably going foreign, or even looking elsewhere in terms of deciding that sports is not for me? Although the mantra is I choose sports, they probably choose something else. What can you say to give them the assurance that the government and working in collaboration with private sector are making headway in terms of the provision of these resources?
I think working in collaboration with the private sector helps. I think utilizing the resources of government and the Tobago House of Assembly helps also. For instance, in Tobago you have the Division of Community Development, Youth and Sport offering grants, and they do the Lallan Gordon Fund and so on to help athletes. In the ministry we have grant funding for elite athletes and for upcoming athletes also. We support sporting groups just like the Tobago House of Assembly does the same. But I think we have to be frank that there are some sporting disciplines that are not practiced widely in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's say, for instance, judo. Gabriella Wood, she had to live abroad in order to compete. As much as even in Tobago we say we want this in Tobago, we want that in Tobago. In sport, you want to be the best. You want to be the best in your community. Then you want to be the best in Tobago. Then you want to be the best in Trinidad and Tobago. Then you want to be the best in the Caribbean and the best in the world. That's what sport really is all about. So you can't limit it only to Tobago. You have to have that opportunity to compete internationally. In some sporting disciplines, we get a healthy amount of competition locally, and for some of it, you have to travel. For instance, cycling, you have to travel, and there are other sporting disciplines like that too. But for the very basic, I think that there is sufficient support from the Assembly, from the Ministry, and we're hoping to get private sector on board even more. Digicel is doing a wonderful job. Scotiabank helps too. Republic Bank helps also, but we want that consistent and reliable help from private sector. And I think that there's a way every private sector entity can assist. Whether you're a printing company, you can help in t-shirts, whether you provide Lucozade, Gatorade, drinks. I think there's a place for everybody in sport, and we have to see it as that.
All right. Minister, we are coming to the end of this morning's program. I want to thank you and wish you all the best with I Choose Sports, and all the best to you in this initiative. Yeah?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tobago.
All right, so that's where we're going to leave it this morning. Of course, you'll join me in committee. We'll talk about that. I'm not sure you have the time to drop in for a few minutes, Minister, maybe? Because I want to talk to you about cricket. You went to India and thing. We could talk that and so on. So I don't know if you have the time.
I have public day today.
Okay, so you don't have the time.
Public day today, but I would love to come back and do it.
Okay.
I would love to. I love it,
All right.
I love cup of tea. I would love to come back and do it.
Right.
I have public day today.
But by the way, as he mentioned, cricket, just quickly, the World Cup starts on the 1st, and
Yes.
we are all set.
Yeah.
We have a practice match open to the public on Thursday. Yes,
At
yeah.
the Oval.
At the Oval,
All right,
and then
but
we head to Brian
regret
Lara.
I couldn't get you this morning. Just to
I can always come back.
All right,
You just let me know when, and
all right.
I'll come
We-
back.
we got to leave it there. Jabari, we got to
Yes, of course, Minister, thanks for joining us this morning. And thanks to you viewers for joining us as well, and listeners if you're in your car traveling to work. Thank you for being with us on Rise and Shine. My name is Jumani Juby Cox, and today is the best day in the year. Every day should be the best day in the year, in fact.
All right, so you'll join DJ Mana inside Cup of Tea on Pulse 89.5 FM, and we're going to have some guava bud tea this morning. And with that, hey, embrace the urgency of today. For tomorrow's a mystery. Better be saying so long.
The I Choose